This still scares me to this day. It happened recently. At the time, I was the manager of an accounting company. That night, I was the only one working overtime, the last person in the office. Our office is in the third floor. When you step out of the lift, there's a long corridor ahead. Walk straight down, turn left, and you'll reach the office entrance. From inside, you can see the corridor and the lift area through a glass divider wall. My desk is at the far right corner of the office, facing the entrance. I have a clear view of the glass divider, the corridor, and the lift. And since I'm the manager, I have access to a personal CCTV monitor at my desk that oversees the entire floor. That night, I only had a little work left, but I was getting hungry, so I ordered dinner. Usually, the delivery person takes the lift up, places the food on a table we've set near the lift, and leaves. It's a regular delivery guy, almost always the same person, so he knows the drill. After placing my order, I put down my phone and continued working while waiting for the food delivery. About 20 minutes after I placed my order, I heard the lift doors open. I thought it was the food delivery guy. I wanted to have a look, but I was too lazy to get up. So I glanced at the CCTV monitor. To my surprise, the lift was empty. Doors open, but no one there. Confused, I figured maybe someone on a lower floor had pressed the button by mistake, so I shrugged it off and went back to work. 5 minutes later, I heard footsteps coming from the corridor. Soft, slow, but steady. I looked up. No one was there. My first thought was that some kids were playing a prank, or worse, someone was trying to break in. I wondered if they were ducking low to avoid being seen from my desk. So I checked the CCTV monitor again. That's when I saw him. A man was standing in the corridor, back facing the camera. I looked up again. Nothing. I should have been able to see him through the glass wall from where I sat, but the corridor was completely empty. I looked back at the monitor. The man had moved. He was now standing just a few steps from the office entrance, and he was walking backwards. My heart dropped. Who the hell walks backwards like that? I looked up again. Still nothing. No one outside. Back to the monitor. The man was closer. He had entered the office, still walking backwards. I froze. Whatever this thing was, I couldn't see it with my own eyes. Only the CCTV could pick him up. I stared at the monitor, too terrified to move, too afraid to even blink. And then, he was right behind me, standing still, facing me. But on the CCTV, his back was still to the camera. Then I felt it. A cold, heavy hand on my shoulder. It was large, pale, and lifeless. I screamed at the top of my lungs. That's when the lift doors opened again. It was the delivery man. As soon as he stepped into the office, the creepy man vanished into thin air. He heard my scream and rushed over, asking if I was okay. I was beyond relieved. I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if he hadn't arrived at that exact moment. After that night, I never took on overtime work again. So be careful when you work overtime alone, especially late at night. This terrifying incident happened when I was a lecturer at a university. Our office used to be in an unusual location within an old building. The university's old building had 4 floors, but our office was located on what I can only describe as the 4.5 floor. The 4th floor was divided in half. The top half was our office, accessible by a narrow staircase, and the bottom half was a classroom that had never been used for classes. It was practically abandoned. So our office was right above this unused classroom. To better understand the incident, here's the layout of the office. The entrance led directly into the admin's desk area, which was in front of the door. Behind the admin's desk was the lecturer's desk. There were two entrances: the main entrance, which was from the staircase, and the second exit, which led down to the semi-abandoned classroom below. At the time, I had only been working at the university for about 3 months. One evening, as the other lecturers packed up and prepared to leave, I stayed behind to finish assessing my students' assignments. My Wi-Fi router had broken, and while I was waiting for a replacement, I didn't have much choice but to stay in the office. One of the lecturers, my friend Peter, asked if I wanted to join him for dinner. I politely declined, explaining that I would finish my work within an hour and that my mom had cooked dinner for me at home. Peter told me to be careful. I thought he was just being overly cautious. After all, I was in a university office with security guards outside. What could go wrong? I finally reached the last student's assignment. I leaned back in my chair and stretched, relieved that I was almost done and could finally go home and rest. But just as I relaxed, the landline on the admin's desk suddenly rang. It was 8 p.m. Who would be calling at this hour? Then I heard a loud thud, like someone slamming their palm on the admin's desk. I froze. After a few seconds of eerie silence, the admin chair suddenly shot backward, as though someone had kicked it hard, sending it crashing into my desk. That was my cue to leave. Without even bothering to close my laptop or turn off the lights, I bolted. Work could wait. I grabbed my wallet and keys and, with the chaos happening in front of me, I decided to take the second exit that led to the abandoned classroom below. I flung open the door and ran down the staircase into the classroom. It was pitch black, but I knew the exit was on the other side. As I reached for the door, panic set in. It was locked. I yanked the doorknob harder, hoping it would open, but it didn't budge. That's when I turned around. In the dim light from the office, I saw something moving down the stairs toward me. At first, I couldn't make out what it was, but then it became clear. A tall, elongated, vaguely humanoid shape with a face. Its two eyes were fixed on me. My heart raced. In a panic, I kicked the classroom door as hard as I could. Thankfully, my kickboxing training paid off, and the door flew open. I ran out of the building, not looking back, and went straight home. The next day, I told Peter and the management about a break-in, but I didn't mention the monstrous figure I'd seen on the staircase. To my surprise, the management didn't ask any questions and didn't even bother to check the surveillance cameras. They told me they were planning to move the office to a new building and implemented a new rule that everyone should leave by 7 p.m. I didn't dare ask why. 6 months later, the old building was demolished and we moved to a new office. Peter then told me that no one in the office ever understood why the office was located directly above the abandoned classroom, or why the classroom had been left unused. No one knew the history behind the strange layout, but over time, everyone who worked there had encountered odd occurrences. The telephone ringing for no reason, strange loud noises, random objects falling off tables. Creepy, but nothing too major. When I told Peter about the humanoid figure I saw, he said I was the only one who had seen that terrifying entity haunting the office. To this day, no one knows what it was or why it appeared.